July bosom le to so aduonu enwotwe Cape Coast High Court akwa setena e won finfin mantemo na afie twemo a aba ye koto ye no abato empesa akonya de no ase no fe won finfin mantem twuma mentwemo betwani kura boye ebi akoso honom ama opani ba kwa wo free asimbreku Michael Ankoma nimfa ode asem kwa kopie mu e wo court ni nseme etiawa empanifo sise bi asisi ni kwasesem te ya court dan esi honom aba wo moto ye opani e wodi emu nkonim a otu frank adema NDC chenia manyeko jo kwache kwese no oyobi okuta krata se Canada ni na osaso okuta krata se o manga na ni a eno eye dual citizenship na ohwe Ghana eye mamra constitution na echi etia ekasa etia se obi bekuta oman foforo so krata na oye Ghana ni no baba be prese oba be pre omampani ya na se emra shebedwa akonya na se di brekese bia e wo mangane mu a ebi krampo sida emo nipa ko yes ano esi ameka se yede ne ko eye asem bia ma asem de bono no yede no ekọ afiase eti asem de na koso a amene dei na court atemo ebaye otemofo justice Kwesibu Achille tena court adakam na ninsem etiawa de okanya ne se afi aye twemu abaye kokoto ye no ase no fabato empeso aso wo mo MP yera kwachi question te se wonye emrahye bedwani ebimu eti de okanya ne se wo sere se yentwa abato ne se wotwam ankasa yensan so enkoto abanfofo se de bia ebeboa ma periperi ye aba abra opani be fa krata se obepre emrahye bedwa akonya no na okuta krata se Canada ni na osaso eye Ghana ni eti oba ni sa na etie emra enti sa emre no be fa krata na sa tam no na ka wo de atodwa se wonye Canada ni dia ka emra no makwan na sa emra na okuda so ye Canada ni ba sa so ye Ghana ni eti etia emra enti na de court no hye se opanino eye abato empeso akonye kuta ne se emrahye bedwani no won fanto na mpanifo enya nhye na won kọ abato so nkoto ababiem eti enu beye emputrupu abato eti hwese de court assembly ni koye na kire se abato empeso akonya no nanka omu nyina guta wo ha ene aduasanson oha ne aduasanson 137 137 eti ne ye hwen ba ko afri hode a na esendi samanyeko no guta wo ha ene aduasansia ena NPP yamanyeko guta wo ha any education so 137 enti Sunday be kwa ye by election putupu abato no de se se no opani no court chese wonye emrahye bedwani ebiemu enti won fa akonya ne nto kopem se electoral commission ben hwehye ne yakwa ye putupu abato ama prepare abaso e Ghana ye kabi ma menka bi hwehye mu
na e wasan semi mu ebre beto dwa pe se de owura ajache wonye emrahye bedwani ebiu no ena ama domkuma no wana wamra se fie no wompen no de wano ura harina Idrisu wade atodwa se atemuere de no kureni ono na dwene mo hwa ankoye senti o se ankoye no wachira na eyekwa bi so a eye court no pese wo fa so na ote mra se fo odom kuma no norma no so se yekoto abanu wie ye na epaye o haduasanso no se court no pese wo fa kwa bia so na ohwa wo mo de no so na MPP fo no ekura dom kese no ewufie wa enema obeye nyina no na chese wo ka oye dan kura dom kuma no ka ho bia entimi enyeye wasan achem se saade na akoso no e wo se Ghana mra se fo no ehwe ni ye ene aban no ofise enya de be mo so agogogo mo kura wotumi ene se de wo ye woni ma bia wo senka na emra no anase ema no emu achepe no obia kire na dwene ema eye pepepepepe nene de ekobase baako ehom baako so dia na ene asem no eya de akon atia won pa na wakirem wo se enya de asase mu obegya ato wa se ebrotemufo Kwesibu Achille ekawia ye nti no wo ma fa ne saa ekwa bia so obesa atimbio e wo court ebeye appeal ansa na wo ma hunu se wadifo onifo nso a wogina wana so se NDC amanyokuo ora harina Idrisu.
We are addressing you on some developments from the Cape Coast High Court, which seeks to suggest a possible by-election in the Asin North constituency and the potential of our colleague, the Honorable Kwesi Gachi, being denied his legitimate role as the elected representative of the Asin North constituency, which election he won outright as a citizen born and bred in that community, but for some time had to sojourn in Canada. He subsequently, as I understand, renounced his citizenship, expressed so far back 2019, got his certificate at least before the election. We in the minority remain unshaken. We are confident that it is our seat, it will remain our seat. Our first is to use the same legal processes and legal forum and opportunities available within the Constitution. We will contest the ruling. The judge erred in law and in fact is a travesty of justice. But what is worrying, we don't want to believe that the courts of Ghana have been captured and that the courts of Ghana have become forums being used surreptitiously to tilt the balance of power. We are equal, 137. What is happening is the courts now being used to tilt the balance of power and to weaken time-tested historical notion of checks and balances. Justice must not only be done, but must manifestly and undoubtedly be seen to be done. What happened this morning at Cape Coast, we are told that even when the Supreme Court of Ghana directed the Honorable Kwesi and his legal team to go and file appropriate legal motion for the matter to be referred to the Supreme Court, he was denied that. That is repugnant and an affront to his right to a fair trial guaranteed under Article 19 of the 1992 Constitution. Danger begets our democracy with the developments happening. But as I've assured you, we remain unshaken, we remain very resolved, and cooperation to support.
We Ura Haruna Idrisua ono oya tamalesa to mra sebedeni na kwa NDC dom kuma no ano ono ena oye penia odo ano ena ode nsemi atudwa ene da yi a Cape Coast High Court esi so se Ura Jo Kwesi Jache no onye mra sebedeni bio enti letter commission emo abo no na onkoto aba emputupuru so ewo ho
Ura Haruna Idrisu kasewe ye pe ena majority chihwepa ono so maimram shibje fiyera Frank anodom presso ekasaye waso omkodo muhu efitete ade ne si ya penos ade we de ya papai e da asem kokota obedi emunkonim enti January eboso tosonson emre de omampani si akonya so ye to abato wie ye pe ena ohun se papa no ohwe se de asem ne si kono a obedi emu entroti na nya nwanwa se ene dai kota tem wo fi Cape Coast aba ahye se abato aye to ye ewa se no fifi mantemo no ema yewura kwa chikwese na ye mrahye bedwene no court no entwam na onkoye mputupu abato se de be ya ebeboa ma anyema nyina akoso ede amaye yewura anodom pre eto ne nsem so no ena o chese na edom kuma no ta papa na chi epo munim se papa no na asem enye de na so sitilia na omudi na chi sa edi se ebi a wokọ abato mrahye bedwafie na se bi omo fa adwene a na wa makwa ma papa na fa adwene ni bi wamu ba shamra papa no shamra ni bi na wohwe na nsenya dai krampo no emna okwakoto aba na ode yi yewura aban kinfos man bagben emra shebide fia cha mehene kra no wamu yihye senka wamu mane nko na so wode se epedne ena setelia wode wura mo okwakoto aba yi yewura aban kinfos man bagben eto wamu de enye wanwa se papa no wodi eye abato no emu entwo wase agas bosome no ewo eye afi atwa emu no mu kra no ananse emna na ye kwakofa enkrata no sabre na papa no da so eye Canada ni a na wonfa ne nkrata no ento honom enti se de Ghana mamran etie no Article 94 Clause 2A no ye na ye nim ya kan ebiesida eti na enye nwanwa se papa no obedi ntwo ewo court asem die mu ampani ampa ni nuane ampa court ahye se yesa so enko abato foforo so a eno beye emputupu abato ewo asenof ewo fifi mantem.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's important for us to recognize that if you recall, even before we were sworn in to be part of the 8th Parliament, ab initio in the chamber, we as members of the majority raised issue of eligibility related to the Asinof Member of Parliament elect then. If you recall, there were dramatic representation even from our side, and we had questioned the implication of that decision for the member to sit in and be part of that decision making on that day. Each one of you will bear witness. And so today we have been vindicated because from day one we had made our point abundantly clear that the member was invalidly elected, and lo and behold, a court of proper jurisdiction has come to.
Yera Frank another prayer majority fi prepare my immersion with fie or to also be say asem edie ne ba ye na atemo ne ba ye no aso nkofo pese wo mo twe executive ne je so mampanin na pamfo edi ran semimo or say ye was separation of powers enti abo bi obabi odidi na no ekokopem enti we no eye emrahye bedwafo na enyo masem enti obesere so hwe ne yantwe mampanin e na fese na pamfo a wo mo eye executive e wo oman ne enkrabata ensane ba akoro ye fa wo mo emewura mu enti wo se court atemo ba na se wo mpene so oni court no enya adwena oye appeal Frank Anodom pray.
I respect the minority leader, but for him to say that rubbing in government influence and the likes is totally flawed and should be rejected ab initio. We think that if you look at the provisions in our law, the pieces of legislation as well apply. Article 94(2), Section 92 of the Representation Act, and then the Canadian Citizen Act, all put together, were the anchor of the ruling from the court. Now, be it as it may, any law-abiding citizen, when there is a court ruling and you don't agree in law, you need to file a review or go for an appeal. Don't bring in the executive. We have built our country to the extent that we need to respect separation of powers, because the honorable minority leader is part of the legislative arm of government and the courts is part of the judiciary. So if there is a court ruling and you don't agree, you go and appeal. You don't organize a press conference on the spur of the moment and start throwing jabs at the executives. I think they are getting confused, and I can understand them. It has blown them off their feet. But for us, it has only justified our claim at the initial stage. So we will advise the minority, if they have any basis to expect a ruling otherwise, all they need to do is to subject themselves to the process. And let's see what will happen from the law court. So it's much ado about nothing. We can understand that this has unsettled them, but if they have reflected upon it deeply, especially the day of swearing in, they will have realized that they were going on a wild goose chase. Let it be a lesson to them. And let's respect the sanctity of our law court. When there is a decision from our courts, we should subject ourselves to the due process. And where we think that we can make an appeal, we make necessary appeal accordingly.
Wasi yemfa oboni enidie ema atemo adwuma no enti se court atemo eba na sankoyi amawa de wo ye ne se appeal e na obekọ ne mom hone ya ntwetwe mpanimfo bi edin emfa nwuram se executive no eye oman no ensa na se nkrabata baako ana fe so atemo adwuma ne mrahye bedwade ho no enti se court atemo ba na sa wonti ase a obetimi asa so akọ bi no akọye appeal e wo court kuba atan enti obesere se atemo na ba na se wa wonti ho ase no court bem na ja say yebetwetwe mpanifo bi edin ewrem no o say koba ne sa ka bi mami nka bi democracy a Ghana ye preach na ka ho asem no etimi eni ehini majority chief Frank Anodom prayer
na sansem yemu ena obi anim se Segbefia we NDC ni mapa o ka NDC akuku dam na yi ni firimu a na wayem from so wo kira na ene Cape Coast High Court asetre okoye na wode abetu dwa asini pi se owura Georgia Chikwesen onyamra sebedani e wase nofu bio na yenkoto no hofro no e yade a enhandi si amanyokuo no kwa bia azu se one day wonim se yekoto aba biewo se nsonso aya appeal no ndisi amanyokuo no ebedi nkunim owura yi kiremu a na ade no emuda ho pefe se owura yi enya saa ne me ya ye kan fa no ho wo court ni saa na etie na so nipa bi no pese e kire saa enya se court no asi ni pikura api nsonso ho ndomesa kwatim bio na watie asem no mu ansa na wo mate wo mo ase na nso mpo se kwaba so mo se difo na eba abato bio se ho yenkoto a MPP be dey no watimi agese akonwa ne de wotwe wo mu ten eye NDC for there mama yenti owura Segbefia.
We have been in court. The day has been one of full of surprises. Yesterday we were in the Supreme Court, trying to get the Supreme Court to listen to certain aspects of this case. We were given various instructions by the Supreme Court, which meant that we had to file processes today at this High Court. We were here from 8 o'clock in the morning, right through to 9 o'clock. None of the registry offices that were responsible for filing of these papers was open. The cash office itself was also closed. So we were not able to file processes till after 9 o'clock. But the judge had already gone into court and started giving his judgment. We find this extremely unfortunate because it's a repetition of what happened the last time when we also had processes that needed to be filed or dealt with in terms of an appeal. When they sought an injunction ruling in terms of an injunction, quickly everybody in the court had been spirited away and we were not able to file process. That was unfortunate then, and today's happenings are equally unfortunate. We've heard what the judge has had to say, and the lawyer in the case, Justin Pagua, is actually at the moment obtaining a copy of the judgment, which we shall look at closely and make various decisions. We are not in the least perturbed. We know that seat will remain an NDC, either through the court or through an election. Whichever way it's looked at, we know that seat is going to remain an NDC. We have no problem with that issue. But it's important that the right things are done and the right processes and procedures are followed. So we shall study the judgment. Of importance is the fact that a lot has been made of the Zaneto case. Zaneto case dealt with Article 94.1. This case is under 94.2. The Constitution itself deals with citizenship and allegiance as two separate things. It says you must be a citizen of Ghana. If you are not a citizen of Ghana, you cannot hold certain positions. You cannot hold this position, president. You cannot be a chief of defense staff, etc., etc. And in 94.2, it says you cannot be an MP if you owe allegiance. There's a big difference between allegiance and citizenship, and sometimes they are mutually exclusive. This was never addressed in this case. This is part of the reason we wanted to go to the Supreme Court, and we went and were given certain instructions, and part of the applications we were going to do today was for this matter to be halted, for the Supreme Court to make an adjudication similar to what they did in Zaneto on 94.1 to be done with 94.2, so that we know exactly what the outcome would be with regard to this type of a scenario. To circumvent that and not let the Supreme Court have a say on this matter, we think is unfortunate.
Asuafo we owura Alex Sagbafia ono na NDC amanyokunum ene na wakanipa dodo a wonyina bo anan ekọ Cape Coast court ho na okutie wo kwade nokure ni no ho ye on de se okura sempa nanso ebeto odwa se owura temuafo edi tu odwa se Jensu kwachi kwesen wonya bra sebedani bi no na wonyina atabaafo nanso we de when Jimmy and Cano caught to them who a quarter de chi abuboa na and the appear them ho in tea and a ma unya quano so or can some say.
And see a quarto echi abobo no and your friend Mebunodom National Youth Organizer MMPP Americono Henry Nana Boachen and a B. What they are to just some domania je papa ne. Akoya mom wo medi di papa ne fufu di o ma hwi pa ene abankwan ne nkatekwan wose court atemu abaye no de o mo satisfied wo mo di tum o mani age o pene so kama pa eti Cape Coast High Court ene okwa asetena na wo hye asen of abato empeso ha akonya no wonsan so enkoye butupu abato bi mu ewi se wo mra hye bedwen yewra jo kwache question na wonsam fantase obepre emrahye visa na okuta Canada mine krata abra obefa krata se obese opre emrahye bedwa akonya no edisa benanka wode ne krata to so onye Canada de hye bi mu dia na ka Ghana mabra article 94 cross ne nkasantia na so sabe no da so ekuta krata se Canada ni die ye mamra article 94 clause 2 no kasa edi etia entina na boache se omani agepam ne court no ya adwene omani agepa se akoyie edi amomo eti wo mo MPP fo adi omani ageba enti di omo hwe nyina ne se atentene ne aye adwuma na afaso rule of law da bi e ka ho asem no ene democracy e wo court atentene ni mu no ni na aye adwuma eti wo se emena wotemuafo ne kasa no atemu no mena wo kenkan no wo de donhwiri bak wana edo de kenkan ye ene his lordship kasa no chechire mu se etia Ghana mamra article 94 so kuta oman bisokrata na so se Ghana ni no chechire mu na ode ba se international law ye wa amonone emra ni na so ekasetia enti Canadian Citizen Act ne kura no esa so kasetia se woye Canada ni na so wo oman foforo so krata na oba pretumi enti sa amra no pepepe na ye de ye adwuma e wo oman Ghana mu enti o se we no de he de asi na nya sie wie. They said the Omai Crado Pa Electoral Commission say obey imputrupu abato by election ewo asenof every man temo.
Today is another victory for rule of law. This is a petition that was filed by our own friend Michael Nimfa, and today the court, after almost has upheld our position, and the petitioner's position for that matter, the court today has said that the election of Honorable Quayson was in contravention of Article 94(2) of the Constitution, and then also Section 92A of the Representation of People's Act, PNDC Law 284, and that the election of Honorable Quayson is illegal, void, and of no effect. We have repeatedly said that Honorable Quayson, at the time that he was filing his nomination to contest as an MP, was a Canadian and also a Ghanaian. Indeed, the nominations were opened by the Electoral Commission from 5th to 9th of October. Documentary evidence showed that Mr. or Honorable Quayson had received his certificate of renunciation way after he had filed his nomination, and then also swore a statutory declaration that indeed at the time he held only an allegiance to Ghana. Today, the court has said again that the Electoral Commission must also, as a matter of this very law and the laws of Ghana, the election of Honorable Quayson, as declared null and void, should proceed to conduct fresh elections. Again, the court also declared that the first, as declared null and void, should proceed to conduct fresh elections. Again, the court also declared that the first respondent at the time of the parliamentary elections in the Assinov constituency was not qualified to contest as a candidate. Indeed, we are happy because the judgment delivered, over an hour judgment delivered, was very elaborate, was hinged, pivoted on authorities, the laws of Ghana, and at some material moment in the delivery of the judgment, the lordship even made references to relevant laws, international law, such as even the Canadian citizenship. We are of the view that this is victory for rule of law, and again we will be waiting for the Electoral Commission's announcement on when the said by-elections will be.
Emedun don fra former NPP Asukoko Amanyoko no ene Nana B Nana Boache Henry na oto asubem no se omo MPP for do mu gina ho ma tentene na afesi rule of law se mena be ye adwuma etina nka ndi semediko no pese wo mo de technicality se wi Ghana fo a na ade hye wo asen fo wo mo right no wo mo agidi fo mo sanam se hye ekun wei ye begiam ni akon amomo e no mo so ni bere ye konkon ya engunimdie atimi aba ede ama wo mo enti wo se NDC for pese wo mo etietia Ghana mamra no hye de wo mo ntwe da e ma na nya adwuma eno so chemu sei.
Let me also state that we in the MPP, we believe in the rule of law. We have heard from our friends in the NDC that we are using some technicalities to make sure that the sovereign will of the people of Assinov will be thwarted. This is false and malicious attempt by the NDC to render our rule of law ineffective, but it is not going to work. Now, I said the last time that the same law that found Honorable Adamu Sakande as not eligible to be Member of Parliament for Boku Central is the same law applicable as we speak. The laws have not changed. The laws have not been amended. The laws have not been reviewed. So we held the position that the laws must upheld at any matter. So we thank you very much.
Therefore, Asamna no ena wacheche mu se omo ntena se enhwe ema omanfo fa ahode ne enye emfiri wo nsem se de na MPP for kasa wo pese wo chinchim wo nsa na abato a ade hye ne koto ye ne wo de mra na technicalities di wo no wo se ntesa anya ne kurakura wo se ayi emra kro na yedidi kane emra hyebadwani yewra Sakande no sa pepe na yedi yewra kwachi visa no kuta amami no so nkrata pepe na si papa wedi ma court no ahye se yen konkoto abafoforo bi mu eno yen putu ho abato by election wo hwe nim se electoral commission ebeshada na wakwakoto aba ebi mu Henry Nana Boache emebrudon frefo ema NPP amenyukuru
na ebrewura asegbafia ekase se asem ya abetodwai enya de ha NDC amanyukuru no nipa kura no se onum se ye kwatubio anase koto eno omoko no ombedi nkunim no owura Roxanne Nelson de mafiakpo oye mrasebedani ewo South Day abato mpesua so ewo Framantam wo se enukureni omo de asem no aha omo ewo mrasebedafie wɔkyerɛ na mmarahyɛbadwafo wɔyɛ NDC foɔ no enkanka beto bia se ama onso atie no ama wontumi no ahoɔden no so ehwan kakra izana sɛ deɛ sɛ nkagana fo bɛhwɛ a ade bia wɔyɛ ne fie ho bia ne mu achetu enti wɔkasi wɔn bo sɛ yɛn yɛ pese yɛn yɛ bɛyɛ ne sei na ɛyɛ adwuma na nso akɔba sɛ wɔn so te no a na ɛyɛ ade akwa bi so no ɛbɛha wɔn wɔkyerɛ na ɛnɛ otemuafo justice kwache kwasi ɛde kwasi wache ɛde ensemi atu dwa pɛ no sikai asam foforo ɛyɛ aba na omen sɛ ne pɛse ɛkɔ no wɔkyerɛ na by election kura ne sɛ deɛ ɛkɛsi wo mu no ɛno na ma ndisi fo ani abere no na nyɛ sɛ wɔm so ate no nkokwa ɛka wom egie bɛkɔ akɔbɔ saa kai wɔbra Ghana yɛn nyinaa anim sɛ saa bere yɛn ho kyerɛ yɛn deɛ na ne nka wɔm yɛ appeal na wɔm di bem no a na nka ɛno ɛyɛ paa wɔse emom onim sɛ wɔno a wɔyɛ lawyer ni edi nneɛma nyinaa fa ne mmara kwa so ɛna ɛyɛ adwuma nanso ndisi amanyɔkuo no mu akyitaafoɔ ɛnka wakoma ɛnto wɔn yam na wɔhunu sɛ amanyɔkuo no wɔmmerɛ ɛna wɔn nsɛm mui ɛna wɔnyɛ wadwene sɛ obi gya saa asɛm wɔ mu saa na owura gyakye kwesen yapam no ama obi foforɔ aba sɛ wɔyɛ NDC ni anaasɛ MPP ni na mmom wɔn deɛ wɔn nim sɛ owura kwesen ɔbɛka wɔn ho da bi a ɛnkyɛ koraa.
As a colleague and as a member of the NDC, we are indeed disappointed with the ruling, but that's the ruling of the court. And as a practicing lawyer, I know the remediable steps available. I know that as a party who appeal the ruling, and when that happens, then the remedy available will be to apply for stay pending the determination of the appeal, because you see, it's extremely costly to run a by-election when the law on the matter as it is not properly settled at the highest level. We are prepared to take this all the way to the Supreme Court. You must have heard that an aspect of this matter went to the Supreme Court yesterday. So the substantive matter, yes, we are prepared to take it all the way to the Supreme Court. And if we up to the level of review, if it so happens. So for now, we want to urge every party member and every concerned Ghanaian to remain calm once we consider the legal remedies available. We'll file an appeal. Like I said, the party will be minded to appeal the decision. And so when that happens, it states that directive. Including the directive that he shouldn't hold himself out of. Yes, once we are aggrieved by the decision of the court and we decide to appeal that decision, then the effect of the judgment will also be stayed. Even though an appeal will not operate as a way of a stay, we'll bring a proper application to that effect to stay the execution of the order of the court emanating from the ruling, pending the final determination, so he can continue to work.
Okay, we Russian Nelson the Mafia Po. We am Rashabani, I was South Day about Tompesuasu Framantemu, NDC, Timno, or Kahumbi, and I watch it and Semu Essay. Lausy, Court to Insim
Empire Beam,
Empire
136, 137, one independent.
One independent, and one member out, pending election. Now I determine say about 137 or 136, 138. So and my member kono so de no so ewo ho. Say to my no so kura Ivorian identity any Ghanaian identity or no so ewe ne ya na no so
ho ye dwomoro
and also so eba in case say and also ebo etia NDC a almost beti 2 no more about 135. Now we more aqua 137. 138. 135, 138. Now Fedi I clear majority. Now independent no so I do. But me were questions you go me lawyer for Misa. Enti asembia papa what nemu bia afia she ne se emra agia tumono. Sisi e bekwa ko samra na na se emra e wo mem.
Light FM.
Committee or so anase
committee decision ya oteki bia ba fie honti finally ne fie ne na adopt ya na ya enti omo ebe bobo ho committee na o se ba fie honti mre bia watena mu a ya hye sisi ye adwuma ana e betwam ebio soso no se oto abane bi ma ayi abambabin abado
se wo plan but wanti ase oto bi
oto bi no sisi obi betimi dia court se on tiase sa bamba be ono so de yentwam nto no foforo ana
se wote de ba ko ni frame still abamba be won
no na emu okay sa bamba be 138 136
odi mienu na two
prosa markokwe enti asem kon yemfa nse maame no so ne de no
ba pa asem ka
o de bi na emre mu de anya se wo ka to ho fisi asem nso beba owu ho na dwene ho se beba dan so tumu te obewu etu o ye plan a enipa bia ye owu plan ka ho so ho enti se
okay se de oka no okay se abato mpaso konya ne dia ne se ye hwan ebetimi abasa se de oka ne se obetimi ahwere na ye 136 138 na wasawe ni so na se sabe 137 137
oweni afa but hono kura oweni a omo parliamentary na numerical strength and be yepe na asem a wotena mu a ye decide e bia mrama a oman no mra no be ye dwuma ana wonti olusu
se ndc lusu sa city na
sa mra no be ye dwuma e kire kwa busuafo sa nsemu ya mo ntweme mepe ni nchemu e de abram ye da so ejira court wa na nsentem ene koba se Dr. Stephen Opuni ebrebi atwam ona na koko bodo oda no na ketua de no kure ni na ebefu nanso na idie na wo yi e de oteso owura edu agen ebefu kura che owura Opuni de no na nsem no ekoba se ebre odi na de wie ye no na Ghana ban etena se ehunu se Dr. Opuni ofa akwa ni bi so ma Ghana ban eboka eka o ma Ghana ban boy na ye $217 million na che se busuafo sikan ebi wompa opepepe asem ne yekan yo a chechiri kuro na esa esisi factory ahodo de ma o memu nipa enya adwuma eye na eno se wa menani ana ho afa ne nsa so ama o man no abo ekabone na ni nyina e fertilizer bi o se ekofa bre o men akuafo na wode eye adwuma ho ensem na ekoba se owura yi ekofa ne nsa so sa na oka wone enipa mienu a owura se edu agongo eka ho bie na sabre die wonyina wogina court na nsentem ebetodwa se otemuafo wote asemnum Justice Clemens Honyanuga Dr. Opuni aloyafo etworo ko se ompene ema ne ntena asemnum fi se omo a ehunu se abato a etwa mu no eye na danko akufuado okobo nto ama no ewo ne mpasua so ebra na onya kwan ekasa odwade bi ase no wakani pen se obia mwa na danko akufuado no media de bi ofise papa free SHS na wode baaye no aboa amomen obia ne mfa ho ba bi a wote kura wom kasa woka ana osoma wom obia nya so mfa so nti okura dwempa ti amanfo nto abanoma no ebinom nso ekira na saasem no a okaye no enti no ene wayi no ho aye campaign e de ama omampani a eni so wotra asem kase so ewo Supreme Court na eno na ekoba se ensem no eboba no ewo court no wasan atwero ngoma bio ekoma na onimpre no so boso bese miense etwamu se na lawyer for se o ma ne ntena asem no so fi se wahunu se waye campaign e de ama nanado na fi wo mo konso ensem bia no wo ye ene mra nkumankuma bi ode we wo mo no aso pese kwa bia so obu owura Opuni efo na eno na lawyer for no etwero ye no na ye twema mentwe court di ka bogu kepkosuo na nso achi ebisa agi tuma otena so ene atemuafo akese nnum a wo memu akọ atetena ama Justice Jones Victor Doche watenam na de akoba ne se de Justice Honyanuga enya de obetumi atena asem no so bio wayi na firi asem no so senti a okasa no se woni enipa nnum a wonyina ehia ye no ebra waka wontiri epam ho no eye miansa emienu etia otemuafo Honyanuga na nse nipa miansa si yenyini firi ho na nipa mienu nso ka se ono a onsa entrem na ekoba sa apede a na dodo no atemuo na se wadwenkyere no na aye adwuma enti me ka sei enya de free ekene kro no Justice Clemens Honyanuga no ono Dr. Stephen Opuni Kokobod penia no oda no asem no obetena so bio ebra high court no ekwa asetina na wonyina pese owura Honyanuga etena mu na aloyafo no ampene no wode koye no na ensem a akopie mu no na ni nyina ne se ekoba sa de a na eno enkyere sa asem potia wode abo owura Opuni ekwa adu se wafa kwambone so ama oman ya boka no ebi a yetwam na emum otemuafo a otimuo a wono ye Justice Clemens Honyanuga ono nko a odi animu no ɛna yɛyi na free court no so sɛ ɔntena so wɔ high court hɔ bio na mmom wɔde nipa foforɔ ɛba abɛhyɛm ama owura opuni asɛnnie no deɛ yɛatoa so sɛdeɛ na lɔyafoɔ so ɛkaeɛ
yɛtoa kaseɛbɔ no so for adwenkyɛ no nsusuiɛ no ɛbra Facebook no ɛyɛ Light Sport GH ɛna Light FM 94.9 YouTube ɛyɛ Light FM official for adwenkyɛ no nsusuiɛ no bra kaseɛbɔ no kyɛ bɛkenka ne de ama wo na YouTube ana wɔ subscribe na wɔ mi adɔma no so enti abere bi ɛbɛba bɛtena ase bi a ɛde nsɛm bɛsom no obenya notification a ɛbɛkae wo sɛ kaseɛbɔ brɛ no duro enti Light for yɛfiri ase enti wobɛtumi atena ase na watie yɛn nsɛm no ebi Oswafo ne hwɛ ahensie ni ahenie anafeso osoma hodo adwumadie so chieftaincy and religious affairs ene Dr. Ebenezer Kodwokum wadade sredie eto council state eno ne abedweku a womutu omampaniefo nafeso empanifo efese wonhwɛ na manso ne twuma mentwen ene ahensem ene ahenie hu manso a ekoso ewo Western Region House of Chief Justice nanom badwakase a ewo atoyemantemo no wonhwɛ na omebone nsisi sɛ de be a empunto obetimi akoso amanyama nna akɔ enkan wɔsɛ hemfo edi dwuma sonko ɛwɔ man Ghana emu enti ɔman no emu mantam dunsia no empunto obetimi akɔ ɔde a na nanam ahemfo hɔ no mom dwumadie asipe na sita na mantam bia no ye wɔ nanam ahemfo ɛbɛdwa sɛ de ye wɔ asante mantam chief of House of Chief sanso na toy mantam so ye wɔ ebi wɔ hɔ nom ɔmo de no manso bi ɛkɔso ɛna wɔsɛ sɛ mpanifo metena se na wɔnhwɛ na yentimi siesie ɛma asomdwie emra October bosome ɛwɔ afie twɛ mu no ɛna nka wɔn ɛkɔ abato so akɔto aba ɛde ayi mpanifo foforo a ɛno yɛ new executive wɔn bɛhwɛ nananom ahemfo bɛdwa ɛwɔ ato ɛmantɛm nanso ɔpani baako kɔkɔgye ɛyɛ injunction court tabo de to abato no so ne nyane sɛ awula amehie payiri wɔn wɔpere sɛ dwomtrani na abrante no kɔgye tabo no kyerɛ sɛ din na ekuta no ayɛ no ɛyɛ nakonya din no wɔmpene ɛma wɔno ɛmfa ni adeɛ sɛ na sɛ ɔmfa mapiri tumi sɛ nananom atenankonya wɔmo adwam treni ɛwɔ atoyɛ mantam nti no ada abato no kɔ so kora mpo no deɛ ɔno na ɛprɛ no wɔntimi ama no so abato no ɛkɔ so ɛno ɛna mmarahyɛ badwani a wɔwɔ ahanta west ɔsa so ɛyɛ minister for chieftaincy and religious affairs no sɛ mpanifo sɛ council state mpanifo mra no mɛboa sɛ de bɛyɛ a twuma mentwe a ɛkɔ na nanom atena nkonya badwa ɛno wɔ atoyɛmantem no ɔbɛhwɛ na wasiesie wɔse yɛ wɔ nipa bebree wɔ atoyɛmantem ɛba no ɔyere city ɛno ɛyɛ atoyɛmantem afei so hwɛ garamse ahodoɔ ɛkɔ so no nyinaa so kora na wɔtu bi ɛsɛsɛ nsaso no ɔde nsɛm nyinaa to dwadeɛ a na adwumadie kɛseɛ bi kɔ so a council state mpanifo na yɛyɛ a wɔn nananom atena nkonya badwa a ɛwɔ atoyɛmantem ɛne Western Region coordinating council no ahyiaeɛ na adwumadie no ase ɛna Chairman Jemtreni Council of State Nana Otuo Shebo Otosumino esre atoye mantananum atenankonya sɛ wɔn ankasa wɔn yɛ mpanifo enti sɛ bibi ɛkɔso wɔn ntem na sanya wɔnsi nkonya na wɔnsiesie ɛno akyi garamse garadamensera ɛsɛsɛ yɛsi wɔn so ne akwaya yɛbɔ ho dewuro etumfo a ɔmanfo nyan no wɔn hwɛ no monka efi sɛ nanse dan dan nyinaa no sɛ yɛkasa garamse amana bi abu a wɔnkɔm na ɛyɛ atoye mantam garamse ya chim nantie ni bi atoye mantem garamse da so koso ensuesuo no akoye diem atoye mantem enti wotena se nye nhwehan emansa ase ne nsai ewiso pani a wotena fi ma baba wogya wade no empanifo se ya wodi ho kyia me enti wosere se wonfa wonansi honom na wo montem manso ho no mo ensolve eno atu garamse koso atoye mantem nya so wonhwe na wonsisi se da be ya embuntu bekoso ewo mantam no emu
Doctor for abo amane se e wo se Ghana for e hye ne nso na ohwe ne yef se yare boni bia ne dinde onko sekasis asa ayi ne ti na enche ye be wo ho mpane atia ntobia mfa no honyi se adwuadie num se be ya adwuadie ebetimi asipi onko sekasis aye kan ye frɛ no river blindness ne din ba akono no na kyese enam nsuo so etimi de anifra ebre onipa na sa yare ya ye kan e kan yare bese enuma ebrem atitu ha de edi enya enkankan miamia hodo a wonya nsupanom na asetena no nso enye ohia edi wonya na enema a woye nyina no wona na mo nsuo basa mu ena edeba na esan ye ensan yare a wommodin kura senka ebesie na saa yare de ekeka no ho bia eta asa nipa na ehu na esai abrabo no ba konso ene lymphatic filariasis eno nso se de wo be hunu no e frɛ no elephantiasis na chese wonan no etimi jepim ni twi eno no saa na trachoma ena afi schistosomiasis eno nso bilharzia ne frɛ no na chese junso mu moja ana se junso yade eno no na saa yare nyina ya yare a no kure ni ba bia wo be hunu se bia pie bia no na eye bia nipa wo ho no enya nsupanom import said de nansen esi wo fe so mpotem ho a enipa ene anantwie enom ensukro no nyame amoape ubense onko sekasisi ebi ebetimi asi ho na adi nipa ewo ho nya Dr. Kuma Abuaje Patrick ono eno e director general ma Ghana Health Service ena ode ense tu dwa ene dey wo kira na mention be se aduoso ewomayim ena mpanifo ahunu se saa yare san keka no ho a se ntentem a so ye penuru na ye wo etia wo se bo sumi a yebesim ne da toso nkron de kosi na duonu mienu so 9 to 22nd August 2021 ya ena doctor for ene afia pomdena so ye no aboa won ho a enu won sa kan bi a obo modena so mayin fa na nyina no obewurawura na wawo ede etia ne sari nti wo ba amane se be amanfo beda won ho so na ebre no so no ba won nchen a onko atwetwe ho enko kase bi a eno nso eye corona na se bibi sa da bi esi pai kura we de nya coronavirus asem ena nya HIV asem a we de eno enam nsuo mu ena eba utranye ya adaache etimi de anifra ebre onipadua no a twosem so aka si superfie se onipadua ne kanea ene eni no na se eni nya fra de a na esum ena ato a onipa bia wonhwe ni mu se esum beto ya na mpanimfo kura de won kasem no ta kase eya busudie anase yesua ayi anifrayade ene se bebema otadua mu nso aban ba jutu eno de nyamema no pa a won pe bi atie kura se ebebo abrabom eno nti ena ma Dr. Kuma Abuaje esi so se saa mensa hodo a atototo mo no nso munya abotre ne nche kura aba na ye nhye ya ye ba mo nche na odi enu nyina abewo mo afi Dr. Kofi Asemanyi mensa ono nso ye national program manager eda saa yarboni nyina no ono nso watu amanfofo na wakira abane tore bia na onhwene na ase ewo niema bi so ho a ya na eno nye wose adwuayefo no nso bi suban kura emoa ema saa yarboni ahodo aye kase ebeko atie enkoso yefi se ono anim se ne yonko nipa jepim aye no ebi kura wokọ no ho a na ne ho ye ninyan ana bibi sa eba se nipa no yare no asietuo no ya na ayedene enkanka onko sekasisi eye nipa eyade ana ahotepa seni chamanfo nya ahodaso na wonya odo ene tema ema amanfo sebe ya kura wo kro no nso no wonso kwakwa yi won yam na waye dwuma sonko ede aso ade hye ama se nuro no hyase se ye wo so a be firi wa koma mu na wawo ni yie na amanfo so de akwapa agi nuro na tum na aboa ama onko sekasisa pre esakeka no ho memu no asie ebitu
Yetwa kasebon so ewo ewumasua ensemo University Teachers Association of Ghana UTAV na wamo ewo nkrabata bebre na we no suapon de enti suapon wo man Ghana mu no wamo achechefo ni na no makabo mamatiko ba ko se yefunkro mu ema wato ni din se UTAG na wamo che se yenkwanwa emafie mebuana era yenkote wo so nwen fa ensan papa dua ho e wo se wotafre won service bia na bi aka won sa no e wo so de edepa it is somebody adwuma se achechefo betra de ebe kasa so de ya papa na ominimu be wo na ebedu bosom na akatwie wo senka won saka de atwe ato ho no won sanka ne de eni wo ne aban entwekura enti de omu kanie nyanko basa ya dombo a bosom ye ba besim de de anim ya agas bosom de to so mienu pepepe na je se dwode de anim ya no wo mu de omu na de nyina bego se achechefo President Emma UTAG Professor Charles Mafo one Nigeria kwonu anemu ekasaye was single spine salary structure edo enyaso ni tokro bi ye hwehwe na yeditwia aban enumefo ka na omufrase 2012 no na emakwanse entry level na je say lecturer obi o kira de wosuapon mu no nanka ni sika no nanka wo de back dollar ni mu a nanka $2,084 enti wo de kwa America dollar ni mu a na so aban beko aban beba no wo mu ntwe asa sika na wo mate so amanaba foma wo che se emu akwa mom dwumadi enko enkan yesi afi etwa mu 2020 no na o makatwea salary no ede market premium no wokabom a obi a wo kyade ewo eye aban so apon se bia kan USC anase osuade ewo legon anase wo kyade CCC no na woje $997.84 etu the bagana skama 5687 na so se no enusa gate so na chese bosome no 1500 per month eti wo hwede na 2008 the empenifo kan ye kwesi 2012 say na ka yentwe $2084.42 no wo mo ende sa ene na wo che empenifo say eso tiate no yenka so yento makatwem na emom de single spine salary hihye ne ekere no ene pepepe na wo che empenifo say yemfa ema wo mo o se eso ate best $1,084.57 a eno ye che say America dollar na apemu ne ekere enti wo besre aban say efiti enne ekogosi duara de se wonim na se wonim na sa katwe na che se so o ma heda o bosome na so me gwa menje so we bosome na so eti efiti ne bosome de to so eduanu wo twogosi duara na etwe omoka eti sa sika no ma enya de na che se eduada na aba betom eti etom na se nso ye de na che se o ma ko strike eti eno bosome na so pepepe we ene nsema you tag no ye suapon achechefo nkabum ko ka kira ban Ezedia Gana de.
More target is a crash for Ningra Bandi. Oh, we are doing come.
I want 20 million. I want 20 million. Say 2000. 2000. Yes. I want 20 million. They say, no, say 5,000. They're 5,000. Say what I say. $997.84. The difference in the bill $1,500. And so what's here free? So $1,084.57. No, the trade here. Yeah, don't shoot about one. Don't shoot about where Casa country.
Umudi, I am from my warm titia.
Yes, what they don't find no more question. Me, I'm a call for my member. And no, and you no more question for more. Who share a single spine structure 2012 when I what did I say?
Yes,
and the entry level lecturer Ghana, $2,084. Nti e ho dada nya sa fe no mo kwese no mo ka se yen ka se yen tum na mum de ho no de safata no yes yen fa amount sa no $84 oh boy no
20
from 2012 and the see na me boy no 12,000 said you can
na mo bona ban bia ba won fi wo
nti wonum 12,472.70
obi ade 2004 me ka kra
bi wom ale kire ya bosom ba akonya ize wo hwehua pon esuafo bebebe na o ma keza anya alawa
say
no the idea one no deal
board director ko ya
bosom ye say so ko suapon o cheche ni na che na de is that cheche for say o mani abre o o transment si wo musa an
esuafo ye to akase bo no so be se abosom mi ensanum e wa fi mu na ko ba se elupra na tu free enkran na eko wa ahinkuru no mu no ni nyina eko ba se na e wo se ojaye senti akoba se na wo se ijaye no ne se elupre no wona eka sa wiemhyen ahodo a etukwa wa no na wo madika bobo amane abompanimfo nso kokose otu na wo kọ ana otu na wo ba ya na enema bi wo kwanu ma ebi eye nua ene ye Vodafone for mask ahodo bi esisi ekwanu no ya na eta eha wo ntibe ya aban no ne mpanimfo nya hu bibi se be ya daachi bi no ye ne bi enkosie eba sa no embenufo ompatam ho etie ma aban kura ka se ebe ya dia se de lupri no etuhwi ya ekowa pepepe na ekogina no wontwensen mo nya ho adwumanwi ansa meka se wo bo so afọ kwaku ofuri esiama amane na wahye niam se a woka se wo mko bubunua no na Vodafone for mash bia esiwo no nso wontutu a sabre de abetodwa se wotu ni nyina awie enti ekwan no adam se elupri no besa sha se atu afiri nkra na akọ wa osoafo no hwe Upper West region no eso Dr. Hafiz bin Saleh ena odi nse nyina tudwa enede na o chirim se anukurani edwan panifo di no ho no aso ani pa na ebra bo ensemi ho amane no osoafo kwaku asiama wa ma ensem no ana hokra ena ne abam panifo tu anan a okọ ho na okohwe ese saa niam ya kwansidie nyina ebe firi ho eno okira na wasa tworo ho nkrata nyina e de akosese de ekwanu mu adem a elupre no betimi atua ba onsusu se haw bia ebesie owura yi ekira na watwo nwa no so ebi e de akoma Ghana Airport Company for na fe African World Airline a omo so na eta ekọ no na afi de yo se de wanya entie kra ne se elupre ahodo bebre no wadwu efo no ani age se wa akwan no asan ademu a wanyina beba enti wo se wo to nsa from se wo mo awon ho na wo mra emom wa anka da no poti ensisu se bia okina na watwa ye besimu na elupre dwadie no esan abehye ase ewo ho nanso wo kira na wa hye no bo se enche kura sa akwantuo no ebesa aye adwuma ho Dr. Bensali ekira na wo se mpanfo mo ho ye ha na wo ka se elupre no enhyase ntumre free se Ghana Development Summit bi ebekoso ewo wa ho a umsa ba mu mpanfo ahodo beba enya de ombefro ka elupre ne besa afata afi nipa bi nsu fra manone beba na wo de wiomhye besinkran na wo sa afaka afura hwiaba wa eno ye ne ebegu ho anum ase nipa no ombebre dodo afi bi obetena dwanum ana otonko eno ensem fata se nti omo emientum ena onim se ambassador ahodo e aba na msifo ahodo nso beba se adwadi ni bia se Ghana ya mo ye homodene amelu priye ntu amfiri nkran ama wa ho pe na koba se wonsi kwamu nsan nante ana wonfa ka na emra obre no bedo so dia na yegu ehu anim ase nti anim ya owura kwaku fori asia ma de sede ena ode esi no so ne aban no se wo mo honya ha na wiemhye no ensa entumra se be ya de hye wo ho nso eho ebeton ama adwadie ene eskasam nso ebetimi akoso amana ya akono ama o me ye hunu se ye treye ntaba mu e wakwantuo mu e wo wiemhye nso die mu na afedie ye sipi
Enspa Company Limited date ba mejaba osun ba ko emema contraceptive ebua pa se de ma se wo ye wi a utimi ekonom se de be ye nyinse ma no sa so ena mema so de aba eninti awafo na afiso mu a moto a monye ma no se mo be fa ye funa ma wo ba no so